Also would like to welcome Ibu Shinta. Ibu Shinta and I go back a long way. She has been supporting the Economic Forum for various kinds of topics, including sustainability. She's today the chairperson of APINDO. She has been at the Economic Forum last year in her capacity as the chair of B20, which was a part of the whole G20 hosting of Indonesia. She's been involved in a lot of various other initiatives, and we are very proud to have Ibu Shinta here today as well.
It's always inspiring, and we are always triggered, right, after such a conversation and sharing his views. I spent the last week or so, I told Pak Gita, with a lot of the economic team of the candidates, because they are now kind of formulating their programs. And, one thing when we talk about Indonesia, and after hearing from Pak Gita, I always feel like there's this big gap, Pak Gita, You're like up there, and it's true. And we're here talking about what's happening, to these people in areas that doesn't even have access to digitalization. What I mean is, we're talking about Indonesia wanting to reach and golden year 2045, Indonesia Maju, and with the growth of 7% annually that we need to achieve. How are we on earth going to do that when we are so behind in both two aspects, which is the human capital and the productivity? And a lot of the things that Pak Gita mentions, definitely including capital, are still very far from where we are today. So perhaps what I want to share is more the Indonesian context of where we're sitting today. And I've been very excited to look at where is actually our next leaders going to bring us. I mean, are we going to ever move somewhere? I mean, do we see progress? I think progress is there, but I think the pace maybe is way too slow. And looking into talking about all these economic programs, we just had a session specifically on digitalization yesterday with all the three candidates team. We realized that, wow, I wish Pak Gita is there sitting and tell them what to do, really. We're just still standing and talking about the same issues that we're facing. So I just want to, just share some slides. I know a lot of the information maybe but I want to come maybe from the business side. Why is so important for us when we talk about digitalization, unleashing digitalization? We're not talking about just the industry. We're talking about all the sectors. And we clearly know that, manufacturing, agriculture, all the top sectors of Indonesia have to move into this in order for us to make that leap. So I think if we look at the Indonesia digital economic landscape that we already all know, we see, that the numbers is, of course, we have the largest digital savvy population globally. We have the fourth highest number of internet users. I think in 2023, we have 230 million, or 77% of country, 270 million people were active internet users. We're also looking into reaching $77 billion in digital economy, and it's on course to reach 130 billion by 2025. So we do have a very big demand and potentials, and not just potential, but really we are moving there, if we look at the population that we have. But again, this is what Pak Gita said. Indonesia will never become a digital creator, right? We are just an enabler for growth and an engine for value creation to the Indonesian economic sector. And I think we are still short of growth of 7%. In order to do that, all business, all sectors need to go into digitalization and move towards their structural reform. So if we'll addressing some of the structural issue in the next slide, we can see that many, like many other developing nations as well, I think we see that the biggest issue of digitalization adoption is inclusivity and the widening gap in digital adoption for marginalized groups. This is definitely a big issue. 97% of our economy is SMEs. And how on earth are we going to do this if without them being, being part of the story and have this structure issue. So some of these issues that I wanted to share, we've talked about yesterday also with it was so funny because yesterday we have the Minister Pak Budi Ari, we have also Minister Sri Mulyani, and then she was telling Pak Budi, I already give you all the money now to build your infrastructure, BTS and so forth. So you better deliver, all of that. And then Pak Budi said, the money doesn't come to me. It was before. So now I have to just clean up the mess. That's what he said. So it's like, I think it's digital infrastructure. I think it's definitely still a big issue. And when we talk about internet, we've known it's not just internet access, but we also know the kecepatan, the speed of the internet, which is ridiculous, of course. So we talk about the access, but we also need to look at affordability. I think those two are very important. The slide before, please. And then also we talk about the digital literacy. I think this is something that is still a very, very big issue for Indonesia. And I think it's not, this is even in the business itself. When we do the rescaling because of jobs, the upscaling, I think this is still an issue. Cost of trial and error of tech adoption. I think with the limited access and ability to finance affordable technology, I think this is also a big issue. And burdening of adapting work models, especially in involving hybrid work, education, reallocation of workers, and so forth. Also, protection of basic digital rights and cybersecurity. I think this is something that we have to really understanding the digital rights and efforts to protect them is very important, including regulatory measure, operational aspect of the company's cybersecurity, and so forth. And this is a topic I really love to talk about, which is the gender disparity. I think narrowing the gap in internet access and digital literacy for women and utilization of technology to expand for expanding business owners, which is 61% of the MSME are really gender women, but only 17% of them have the presence in e-commerce platforms. So this is still a very big issue. So what are some of the key determining factors for successful technology-based digitalized company? I think we all know the ICT infrastructure, the human capital, also the business climate and cyber security. I think research and development and innovation, of course, the funding and investment, we talk about the money, and the policy and regulations. I want to also touch a few things. We did a survey actually about 2,000 companies for our economic roadmap. And the whole purpose of the economic roadmap is for us to submit a clear, this is coming from business, so this is not economic roadmap that presented by the economists. It's really from business, so it's the language of business. And the idea is to give inputs, and we have done this every 5 years, to give inputs to the candidates, which is included sectoral and non-sectoral issues. And the inputs including the policy metrics, because there's a lot of also regulations that are entailing in terms of the doing business. So this is something that we've worked together with all businesses, including also the foreign chambers, and we will launch this and have a dialogue with the candidates in the coming weeks. But I think we really clearly see that in the next slide that adoption of digital tools across businesses is still limited, and Indonesia's startup ecosystem has been rapidly deteriorating. This is very interesting. as depicted, I think, by the startup genome, the Jakarta historical ranking startup ecosystem has been declining from number 2 to number 12. And companies across Indonesia also validate this concern. So this is something that we come up with our survey as well, where 52% respondents from our survey agree that startup ecosystem in Indonesia is at emerging stage. Many startups are established, but operations are still subscale. This is the biggest issue. So we come up with many startups. Jadi what we call it now with SMEs juga, we don't want to just create SMEs, but SME naik kelas kita bilang, you know, they have to grow. And also, I think Indonesia is still demonstrating lagging cybersecurity system. I think currently ranked at number 85 between the National Cybersecurity Index. This is further also validated by the survey where 20% of companies are not satisfied with the current cybersecurity practices. The next slide, we find in the survey that 4 key challenges that the MSME hold from adopting technology or digital tools. First, the limited literacy knowledge and capability along the technology and tools needed. Second is the lack of understanding of possible digital applicability for the business and its benefit. So there is still lack of understanding, believe it or not, on this. The third is limited budget to invest, I think money again, the budget to invest hardware, software, and also operations. And the fourth also is frequent network and signal problem, hindering the MSME to keep using technology and digital tools. And the survey has found that businesses are eager to adopt. So we have come to many of the specific sectors that are eager to adopt, and this is the top sectors that we have. So we survey over 2,000 companies, I think from various sectors, and we find that these are some of the sectors that are clearly, wanting to do the adoption. In the next slide, we also highlight the key challenges in the ICT infrastructure itself. And based on the survey, we see that 48% of the respondents are satisfied with the availability of the telecom services. But we see that 49% are satisfied with the affordability, 45% with the telecom service, and 43% are satisfied with the availability, affordability, and quality of IT hardware and software. So these are just some numbers that I would like to share with you. And of course, some of the challenges are provided there, just to have an idea where business are really coming from. And what our proposal to the government, to future government, is expanding the telecommunication network, enhancing digital talent. So we've been focusing, selamat datang Pak Sandi Uno, Pak Menteri. I'm going to be very quick because I know everybody wants to listen to Pak Sandi. But just, so these are 3 proposals that we do from APINDO. Also, the digital talent has been something that we're really focusing on. And now it's interesting because when we work with the labor union, we're not just talking about minimum wage. As you know, it's been in the media these days about minimum wage. It will be confirmed today also for the Kabupaten Regency minimum wage. But I think we are now moving towards a training, including digitalization, because something that is important is moving away from the just talking about the use of minimum wage and going more into the capacity building. So I think this is something that we're working on. And the third is affordability of hardware, software, and services. Now, I think I want to talk a little bit before I close about the jobs, because I think the jobs is very important. In the next slide, we see that based on the web figure, 6.6 million jobs in ASEAN are projected to be redundant due to the technology. And 41% of this lack of essential skill required for also future jobs. So we really believe that this is something that we really have to pay attention. When we talk about the figure in Indonesia, this is also still a very big gap, and understanding the changes that Industry 4.0 and Society 5.0 will bring to Indonesia business world is very crucial. And I think this includes also the digital technologies and automation that the companies can adopt, also the jobs that will grow in the future, and the skill needed for the job, and how to develop this skill. I think the underlining is how do we develop this skill. And I think it's, the 4.0, 5.0 has different priorities, as we know. The 4.0 industry are developing to use technology to ease people activities, while the Society 5.0 emphasize the use of technology while still relying on human as the main actors. However, I think they both are interconnected and complement each other in terms of technological development and social change. But I think alongside with machine, we have to see that the human aspect still provide an importance in terms of how we look at this. And I think we also look at the kind of future jobs, the 10 skill needed related to technological skill. I'm not going to go to details with this, but I think clearly we can see that the upscaling and rescaling what we need on what kind of jobs. And we've been talking to Minister Nadiem as well and providing, the right link and match. And it's been very difficult, but because even before this come to the picture, we know Indonesia now, some of the challenges that we face is the creation of jobs. And we look at, it's not just the kind of job, but also we don't even have enough job to create. So this is something that we are currently working with the minister also, how to find the right link and match, and how to really, businesses can really get involved in upscaling and rescaling. So I just want to close with two challenges that are very important, which is the human capital development, number one. I think we have to really pay attention the fact that those with education of elementary school is still 39.7%, followed by junior high school graduate is still 18%, senior high school is 19%, and vocational school is only 9%. So, this is something that we really, really need to pay attention. So while we talk about digitalization, we really need to know that even the basic Indonesia education system we're still very behind. And this also, I think, clearly said in the STEM, in the PISA exam, clearly notice the numbers that we are still very much at. So we've been very much also promoting STEM these days, and trying to also put more STEM into the curriculum of, even when we look at the education side, how to expand the STEM graduates. And also the number two, which is the employment absorption. I just want to mention this because I think this is important, that we have to realize that in the next slide, that every investment that comes in now, the realization of workshop absorption per trillion has become smaller. And in 2023, only 826 workers were absorbed per 1 trillion. So there's now, compare of 9 years ago, that's only 20% compared to 9 years ago. So this is something that we really need to pay attention. So we've been very much promoting, sorry, next slide. Employment absorption, yes. We've been really much promoting also creating of SMEs sectors because of this, So if we can't create enough jobs on the industry, because moving from the labor intensive to the capital intensive, we also need to create more of the SMEs, but SMEs that can actually what I call scale up. So ladies and gentlemen, I think these are some of the aspects that APINDO has been focusing on. So I just want to close with the last slide, which is how do we move forward in the digital ecosystem chapter. We have, this is some of the recommendation that we provide to the candidates in our roadmap. So I'm not gonna, just to give you an idea that we want to promote deployment of high-speed internet infrastructure, launch national one-stop online portal that enables workforce of all age group to access online learning, establish national technology zone for business player, roll out MSME Go Digital program. So there's a few concrete program that we want to propose. And this is something, what we're doing, it's now working with the economic team. So what's important is a lot of the ideas, a lot of what, because we are the one who's working on the ground. So we know what's happening, we know what's needed, especially when we talk about the policy metrics. I don't share here, but there's specific namanya, aturan, which is regulations that really impacting. So it's to make it easier for candidates to also know what's actually happening, what works, what's not working. And this is something that I think is our contribution, and it is very, very important that we put it through to the candidate, not to the existing government, but to the candidates, so that they know how we think and how we can move forward with the business. So that's from me, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope this gives you a bit sense on where business is coming from and where we're heading. Thank you.
A warm round of applause. So, Ibu Shinta, actually, we really appreciate this presentation's timing, because I know yesterday was the day that APINDO was with all the three presidential candidates' teams. And she had a good chance to share what exactly are their programs by each of the three camps. And I'm very happy that you have a finger on the pulse and you're able to give us a lot of insight based on how you see the three camps are thinking about digital transformation. Thank you very much.